Story time of how I got into real estate investing. I dated this guy back in like 2009, I think 2010, and he had, I think, 5 houses. Before this point, I had never even thought about real estate investing. He owned his own business and had the 5 houses. I learned a little bit from him, but not really a ton. It just kind of stuck in the back of my mind. I was like, I can totally do that one day. Fast forward, I bought my first townhome in 2014. I bought that thing for $128,000. The whole time I lived in that house, I knew eventually I would rent it out. I lived in that house 5 years, and in 2019, I had saved up enough to buy another house. When you move into a primary residence, which is where you're gonna live, the interest rate isn't as high as if you were to buy. Like if I were to stay in that house and buy another house, then my interest rate would be higher, and also my down payment would be 20% versus 3 or 5% if it's a primary residence. So I move into the new house and then I rent out the first house. Again, this is in 2019 when houses weren't that expensive. So I think I paid like $160 for the next house, which, we can't find anymore. So I move into the second house. Then I find out the same seller is selling the same exact layout, which is perfect for a rental, across the street in the same neighborhood. So I called my realtor. I was like, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I want to buy another house. Is that possible? He said, yeah, you take a HELOC out on your first house. So a HELOC is a home equity line of credit, because I had equity built up in the first house. So my crazy butt gets a HELOC out, buys the third house within like 4 weeks of buying the second house. I rented out like pretty fast. And then, curveball, I get a call about a job offer in South Carolina. Literally, like this is all within like 5 weeks. I called my realtor again. I was like, you're really gonna think I'm crazy, but would it be possible if I moved and bought another house? He said, yeah, if you got the money. So again, since I'm moving, it's a primary residence, I only need 3 to 5% down. And again, it's only like a $170,000 townhome, so 3 to 5% down. I mean, I'm like, my whole savings was gone basically. So I had only lived in that second house. I think I lived there for 4 weeks before I moved. So I think it was like I bought 3 houses in 4 months or something like that. So I rented out the second house. As soon as I moved to the 4th house, those were all what we call long-term rentals, which is like a long-term lease, which like 12 months. Fast forward a few years, I sold that first house so I could pay off some debt. So now I have a total of 3 houses. Also, I turned one of the long-term rentals into corporate housing. So I went in and furnished that second home, and now it's corporate housing. So people rent it month to month or either 3 months at a time. This is also what I did with my house in South Carolina when I decided to move and pack up and be a digital nomad. So I left all my furniture and I rented month to month corporate housing. And that's my story of how I got into real estate investing.